good morning, good morning, YouTube viewers, good morning, Facebook Nation, good morning to all people, all colors, all races, all languages, man, woman, child, no matter where you are on the face of this earth. Have a beautiful day, have a beautiful morning, and let the day allow you to be the best that you can be. Um, Today is, before we start, click like, subscribe, share. It's a lot of stuff on the playlist, a lot of different topics, different things we go through in a day, and this being one of them. So this is a three-part series. This is finally part three, to the topic of the war on human kindness. So this is part three. This is enslavement. So one of the things that we had discussed in part one is the history, how history is changed, altered, new names are put in, and history is changed to benefit the person who profits the most, or the people who profit most. So that's the narrative. We can consider that a narrative in part one. It's a narrative of what a person or people want you to think, or how you should feel about yourself, because that's all entailed into history, culture, where you come from. So then part two is the ideology. So we discussed basically what is ideology, and it's a message, and how this message is applied to us. So now we get into part three, enslavement. And today I have a story based on something that actually happened. So I'm going to let you know where this story happened, that you can look this story up for yourself, and you'll understand how powerful as well as how fragile the mind is. And most people think that we're strong and we're this and we're that. No, your mind is delicate. It's so delicate that it can be programmed. It's programmed constantly. So today you're going to learn how to take back and take control of your mind and do thinking for yourself, and to see and know when these things are approaching you, and how to deal with them in a different way. So part three, you would say, well, why would enslavement have to do with human kindness? Well, human kindness is what allows us to be human. Human, as well as be compassionate for others, being compassionate, to have love for ourselves. It allows us to feel for another person. It allows us to want to help another person. These are things that make us human. However, enslavement is an ideology that is put into your mind, into your subconscious consciousness, and it's programmed. And when this thing programs itself into your subconsciousness, it can make you do things that you are consciously unaware of. And this is why I'm going to show you not only how mental enslavement works, but you're going to see it happen in real time to real people, and people in this story that you would never ever in a million years expect for it to happen. But the thing of it is, these people's lives were completely destroyed. When I say destroyed, destroyed. So you're going to have to hear this story out. Okay? So a lot of times I'll use my own culture to say this is how it affects enslavement. So this is what some of the viewers are expecting. Oh, well, let's see how it's oppressing. No, you're oppressed too. You're all oppressed. It's just in a different way. But the thing is, you're still being mentally enslaved, and it's being done against your will. So we're all affected by it. So today we're going to talk about Canadians. So we're going to go to Canada. And this is a true story. It's called the Martinsville Satanic Sex Scandal. And this happened in Canada. And it happened, the beginning of it began on April 24th, 1992. So what happened was, the police had an alert, like how we get, all over the place, where they say, oh, satanic cults, they're going to be inside a cemetery, watch for these people, there's going to be vandalism. Well, on this night, they were like, well, they're going to sacrifice someone somewhere. This thing never happened. However, something far worse did. Now, I'm going to take you into later on that day. Now, this happened that night of the 24th, where they were on alert. So on the 25th, during the course of that week, there was a woman who, her daughter, she was giving her daughter a bath. And when she gave her daughter a bath, she noticed, discoloration. So she brought the kid, she goes to the police station. So, because the kid had said some things to her, to the mother. So she goes to the police station. So instead of the woman, the detective, the female detective went straight into her mind, straight into her emotion. And this is to take nothing away. I'm just saying what the mindset is, because to me, there's no other way that I can formulate this. So her mindset is, wait a minute, well, she's part of this babysitter, they have other children here. And mother says yes. So she's interviewing all of the other children. that go to this babysitter. Now, mind you, the babysitter is a reputable babysitter. The husband, I believe, in some way they're related. So they have law enforcement within their family. So the baby center, the daycare center, came with high regards. So you know, most of the people in that area in Martinsville, that's where they brought their children. So you know, the police, the woman detective, she interviews the kids. Now the kids are telling her no, nothing happened to them inside that place, so it was excluded to one child. So now she says, well, I'm going to get a second opinion. Let's get someone in here. So she gets a psychiatrist in there. They tell the psychologist, they say, no, nothing happened. It's just the one kid. So now they said, well, you know, continue, you know, maybe they're, you know, it's going to take a little more for them to crack. Now, all of a sudden, one kid comes up with a story. And this is after, you know, the psychologist is showing pictures, constantly showing these pictures to these kids. So now they formulate this story and they take what the kids are saying to piece together a story. Now, they're saying that, you know, all these things occurred in this building that was owned by, you know, this daycare company. So now police are informed in it now, but the thing is, not in a positive way. The children have now said that they were police officers because they were showing pictures of these police officers, so they all developed stories about the policemen that they were shown. So now the police, one of the policemen, and this is why I say, you know, watch this video, because this man they're going to literally break this guy down mentally. He's a cop, but I want to wait to give you the ending of this, and you know, again, you're going to feel so heartbroken for these people. For you just are, even though it seems like, hey, how could these people, you know, it's cops, and you know, this is the narrative that they ran in the city. You know, police, part of the satanic cult. One police officer, you know, he confessed and he pointed out all these other police officers. So now, there were 9 people that were arrested from this investigation. It was the couple, the man and the woman who ran the daycare center, their son, 6 police officers, and one of those police officers. So there was 5 police, 1 chief, and then the last one was the minister of justice. So it went all the way up to the top. That, you know, they allowed this narrative to run. So long story short, the arrest came down, and you know, other cops that they wanted, they just didn't have enough proof, so they would have arrested even more cops, but instead they just suspended those. But the other ones were suspended, fired, and arrested from charges from molestation all the way to aggravated assault on minors. So, you know, they were facing serious charges. They went through, you know, public humiliation, you know, everything that you could think of. So, you know, this is all based on the one police officer who admitted, you know, implicating his other partners, that, you know, they were all part of this. So, you know, we would say, hey, you know, that's good, that's all well, and they deserved it, because why would they arrest them if they were not guilty? Why would the policeman say, you know, that other cops were involved if they were not involved? But the fact is, lives were destroyed, families were divided, stress, depression, and the pain that these people went through, humiliation, gossip, and hate. None of these people were guilty. None of them. Not the policeman, not the minister, and all these people that well, the minister and I believe the police got fired because one of them overstepped their bounds by making a premature arrest while it was being investigated from the outside, which would have probably ended up proving that they had done nothing wrong in the first place if he would allow them to do what they were doing. Now the minister, you know, he oversaw it all. He is responsible for everything that happened, so it falls on his shoulders. So for that, he lost his job, never able to fill an office spot again. And for the policeman, the one who gave the confession, this is why I say, you know, anyone who's watching this, go and watch that video of the interview. This guy is completely innocent, but they have badgered and came at him, and you'll see him break down, literally break down. You can see the transition from where he goes into another world, another part of his subconscious mind, which is survival mode. And when it clicks into survival mode, bam, emotions stop. Emotions stop. Now I'm on full mode. Okay, this is what happened, this is what happened, this is what happened. Even though it was a lie. If you would have put that man on a lie detector test, when he was saying what he was saying, he would have passed it. Flying colors, he would have passed it. So this shows you how fragile the mind is. The mind can become enslaved. So not only were they enslaved into a narrative that was not true and was not based upon fact, but opinion. No hard evidence whatsoever. If anything, the evidence is pointing away from it. But because of public opinion, which is now that narrative is spinning itself. So now you see how this works. Sometimes you don't even have to, someone doesn't have to continuously tell you, hey, be a bad person, be a bad person. If I constantly show you this, then you'll doubt who you are and say, well, only the good people, only the bad people get ahead in life, so I should just be bad. Think about that. So these are all types of mental enslavements that we're on. We're being faced with, we're being bombarded with. And we can take this enslavement, we can take it into relationships, where relationships is more going into the domination part than it is in the love and compatibility part and the longevity part. It's gone into the one-up part, so we've gone against the laws of nature, but it's not our fault because of what's being projected, the narrative that we're seeing. But it's also relies on us because it's the narrative that we accept. And when lives are destroyed, we would think that, just by doing it, just by having an opinion, nobody gets hurt. But what we're finding out more and more is people are being affected in different ways by it all the time. And each person is going through their own mental enslavement. And the only way that you can come away from this is to, begin with self. And like I say, I always tell people, the way that I came into it was, I just didn't believe what was being said, and I took the time to find out what was being said and if it was true or not. 99% of the time you find out, even in people in the highest places, things are not true, and what you think you're hearing and what you think you're seeing, you're actually not seeing. But when you do see, it makes all the difference, as well as for stress and everything else, depression, things that you go through, things like for me, I don't go through because I can understand them. You know what I mean? Before I didn't. So, this is why I say to you that's out there, understand yourself. And by understanding yourself, we can make change. And that change begins with you, you know. And also, before I leave, believe next week, but it'll be one of the next videos that I do, or you'll see me, I'm going to have some shoes off to the side, and they're going to be addressed, and I'm going to read that address to you because what a young man is doing is he's providing shoes for kids in elementary school where their parents can't afford shoes for them. So he started this drive. I want to be a part of this drive, so I want to start out with you. I want to show you guys what it is I do. Also, I'm getting ready to do the donation for more clothes. As I go through more clothes, I have to donate more clothes. So those are the little things. So hopefully we can all do our small part in making change. And sometimes change isn't being in the lights. It's actually change is being the light, not being in the spotlight. So with that, everyone, men, women, children around the world, all people, all languages, have the most beautiful day, and peace and blessings. Who am I? So that's just another way of looking at things. You have your way of looking at them, but I'm just throwing this out here. So with that, everyone, have a beautiful day, and remember, ideologies can either lift or they can destroy. But the ideologies that we're under right now, they're destroying, and they're not meant to get better. And in order for it to get better, it's up to us. So for all people, all races, all languages around the world, have the most beautiful day. Have a, enjoy this Independence weekend, and take the time to understand what your independence is really all about. Not just for yourself, but for your children, and as far as the world. With that, everyone, peace and blessings.